to the Her Hoop Stats podcast right here on the Her Hoop Stats podcast network. I am Christy Winters Scott, joined by my sister from another Mister, Cindy Brunson. Oh, hey.
Woo! Hello, Emmy winner. How are you on this fine day?
You said Emmy winner. Do you know I was sitting there like, you know what? If it happens, it happens. And then it happened and I lost my mind for like an hour. I was buzzing around
As you should.
team, which you don't expect. It's just like we're a team. We're doing this all, and that's what it's
Yep.
all about. And
No,
that was
but when you're rewarded for doing what you love,
a.
that's the ultimate.
I appreciate that. We had we
Yeah.
had a we had a time. It was you just took me back to that moment. So now my face is
There
gonna
you
be
go.
today from smiling
And of
so much.
course, part of that Emmy winning resume is the fact that you are a WNBA voter, and the ballots go out on September 1st, and they are due right around when the playoffs tip off. I believe the day after the postseason starts. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Christy. What's going through your mind? Let's start with MVP. You've got that ballot in your hand.
You know
Who are
what?
you picking?
Let's do it. I had it, but I don't know right now. That's something else. No,
Yeah.
no, but listen, it is always so difficult. So I respect all the voters. I don't care if
Yep.
it's what sport it's for, but
Yep.
especially for this year in the WNBA. I mean, it is so convoluted with so many spectacular players and coaches. So you just have to,
Mhm.
I don't know, you just have to measure in your own way, right? I mean, there's
Okay.
no cut and dry formula. Okay, this fits for this player, so that's what makes it so, or this fits for this coach, and that's what
Yep.
makes it so. It has to be your own rules, which I think it makes it tough when you see the results. And if you're a fan, it's kind of like, well, what about my player, or what about my list, and
Mhm.
figured it out in your own way. So I think there has
Yep.
to be some, I don't know, criteria. I guess it would make it a lot easier because Cheryl Reeve has just been masterful, obviously keeping Minnesota at the top and the most wins, again for the Lynx.
Yep.
But then you have, Atlanta doing great things, and Carl Smesco doing a masterful job down there with the Dream, and then
Yep.
and Golden State, making a splash after in the first half of the season, Cindy
Mhm.
being told that their roster was made up of appetizers, like you have all these little pieces of like greatness, but it's, sample sizes across the board, but they're
Yeah.
killing it. So what do you
And
do with
to survive the loss of Kayla Thornton. They get an
I
all-star, and then she goes down to injury, and yet Golden State maintains its place in the conversation. That has been impressive.
how about that? And Coach Nakase, I mean, she's just been amazing. I mean, she was 10 years with the
Yep.
Clippers and then 3 years with the Aces. So
Yep.
she's very well versed in getting reps and what those reps need to look like, sound like, feel
Mhm.
like. And she's gotten her team to play with great execution. But same with Carl Smesco. Like Ryan
Yep.
Howard missed like 3 weeks. And,
Mhm.
players been out of the lineup there, but they have somehow,
Yeah.
some way been able to really manufacture some solid wins. So for me, it's always going to be a difficult question to answer because Asia Wilson at the beginning of the season and the Aces for that matter, I mean, they were
Yeah.
okay. They were about 500. They were 12 and 13. And then now they've
Yeah.
gone on this incredible winning streak. And she has
Yeah.
been playing out of her mind. I mean, it's absurd. It's crazy, with what she's been able to do. So now you have all these great players who do great things separately, like they're all
Mhm.
masterful at what they do well. AT with
Yep.
the triple doubles. How do you take her
Yeah.
off the list? For me, it's like, how do you take players off the list? Like that's going to be my thing. It's
Yeah,
easy
that's
to
tough.
because they're killing it. But Cindy,
Mhm.
what is the criteria? You can help me with my list. So what do you think the criteria should be
When you
for
make
let's
history. When you make history, when you do something that hasn't been done before. And
mm,
that for me is why Alyssa Thomas moves to be the leader in the clubhouse. She has put together 3 consecutive seasons of 300 assists. We've never seen that in the WNBA, and she breaks Courtney Vandersloot's record of 2 in a row in the process. She
well,
is about to break Caitlin Clark's single season assist record set just a year ago. And for everybody that's going to go, oh, there's more games this season. Yes, there are. But AT missed a handful at the beginning of the season. So if she plays out the rest of the slate, she will actually play fewer games than Caitlin did a season ago. And
Okay.
she is still poised to break that single season
Mhm.
record. And she's doing it averaging a triple double on the season, just about. I mean, within percentage points. I mean, she is the reigning Western Conference Player of the Week, averaging a triple double. And of
Yeah.
course, she's got the record of triple doubles in a single season as well. Again, historic, something we haven't seen in the WNBA before. And that for me is always the separator. It was last year with Asia Wilson. We'd never seen 1,000 point scorer because, Asia with her 3 MVPs, I always put her own numbers up against themselves, which is
Right.
why Stewie got the edge a couple years ago because Asia's numbers weren't quite as epic as they were the year before when she won. So what
Right.
did she do last year? Let me set the single season scoring record. Get out of my way. So
Yeah.
boom, then she moves to the head of the class in that department. So as impressive as Fia has been, as impressive as Nneka Ogwumike, Ryan Howard, Alicia Gray, all of these fantastic players have been. For me, I go to the history books. What are you doing that we have never seen in the WNBA before? And that is Alyssa Thomas, first, second, and third.
Oh wow, I feel you. That's a great argument. But then listening to Becky Hammond when they were here in DC, when the Aces were here recently,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
someone asked her about Asia Wilson and how she's been able to maintain her consistency. I think at that point she had 4 for 5 games coming into GC over 30 points and over
Yep.
12 or something. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and block shots as well, which she leads the
Sure.
WNBA in that category. Which I mean, she could be up for Defensive Player of the Year because of that.
Yep.
But who leads the league in steals is another story. So
Mhm.
we'll get to that in a moment. But when you're looking at what Becky Hammond said, which was, what can you do to take Asia Wilson off the list? Like, what is it about what
Right.
Asia
I'm
Wilson
not
is doing
saying she's not on the list. She's totally on the list.
for
But I
running?
think Becky's point was when it's all said and done, we're going to look back and say Asia Wilson may be the best player the WNBA has ever seen. And
That's
she's going to get that fourth MVP. I have no doubt in my
yeah,
mind because she
yeah.
is at her peak right now
It-
and will be for the next 3, 4 years, right? So another one is coming her way. But in the right here and right now, in the year of our Lord 2025, Alyssa Thomas put Phoenix on the map as a free agent signee, and she's doing it via triple doubles in a way we have never seen in the WNBA before. And for me, nobody had Phoenix on their bingo card as a playoff team, let alone a top 4 seed. So AT is the person for me.
But no, I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. And it's just
Mhm.
for me, you have, so many quality players and it's the
Yes.
consistency of excellence, right? When you have a player like Asia Wilson and what you said about how Becky Hammond was like, man, how do you take her off the list?
Yeah.
And not necessarily off the list, but how do you take her out of being crowned MVP? And I think that's the
Mm.
question that we have to answer not only for Asia Wilson, but I think that's the question we have to ask for all the players who are in the running for MVP this year. How do you take them off? Like, what
Mm.
classifies and qualifies wearing the MVP crown?
Yeah. Well, for me, Fee gets the asterisk, right? Because of all the games she missed. We've never
Right.
had an MVP winner miss more than 5 games. So for me, that's when the race is so tight, like it is, to your
Hmm.
point. You got to look for, well, can we do something to narrow the pack? And for me, it's Fee's missed games. Like they voted Fee player of the game yesterday, and I was like, "Okay, that's cute," but Natisha Heidemann went off, a career high double-double. She just like, the team was
It,
in cruise control and she was hooping. She got the post-game interview, and for me, that's what also detracts from Fee's excellence. Everybody else around her is also playing at the top of their game.
yeah.
Dejanay Carrington joins the team and is now shooting career high from 3 and from 2, contributing in all kinds of ways. So, as great as Fee has been on this revenge tour, the games miss kind of take her down just a half a beat. So for
Yeah.
me, it's AT and Asia and Leash. And
Ooh,
Alicia Gray, as great as she has been, again, the surrounding cast has elevated. I
yeah.
look at the games that teams can't win without their MVP,
Yeah.
Phoenix and Asia and the Aces, those are the two. Like you remove those pieces, and all of a sudden it's a completely different landscape. Where
Very
I
interesting.
think Atlanta can absorb not having Leash on the floor because they did it without Rye. And to me, the numbers are so similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for
Hmm.
me, it's just down to two candidates. And then I go to the history piece. And
Yeah.
AT is making history
And that's
every time she takes the floor.
yeah. No, I mean, she's
From
been
from a non-conventional position of
oh, yeah.
distributing the basketball. She's
Yeah.
created the point forward role.
What is her position, though? She's positionless to me, right?
Yes, she's
I mean,
positionless, and, oh, by the way, she's anchoring the defense. To your point about defensive player of the year candidate for Asia Wilson, you can say the same thing about Alyssa Thomas. She defends the other team's best 4 and 5, all while leading the offense for the Mercury.
yeah, she does. And I mean, triple double is just, it's, I mean, I don't know. It's just scintillating to see her ability to stay consistent with her numbers. And,
Yes.
we saw NBA with Russell Westbrook and those
Mhm.
triple doubles that he was able to earn and produce and stay consistent with it. And, every time I hear that she has a triple double, I'm like, dang, that's like the same as Russell Westbrook, right? And
I know.
he's MVP. So I don't know. It's just very different in terms of, I guess, how everyone is going to measure that, like we just measured it.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be very intriguing to see how things shake out. I mean, and then every other day, because their game feels like every other day, I'm like, okay, that's the MVP. And I'm like, ah, she's giving. So it's like a Spider-Man meme for me because I swear they
Yeah.
all like they are just made for that moment and made to wear the crown of MVP. So we'll see what it shakes out to be. But
And
it's
Christy,
not
that just speaks to how awesome this league is, right?
that part.
That we
That
have
part.
a solid half dozen
Yeah,
contenders for this award.
no doubt.
I just love this league. I
Yeah.
love it all the way down.
Hey, Ineka Gumake, she's a previous MVP of the
Yes.
16 when they won the whole thing with LA.
If Seattle
And
fumbles the bag and doesn't make the playoffs and ruins the season that our president, leader of the WNBA PA, has had, I am going to be so angry. But at the
yeah,
same time, I'm going to respect the heck out of whoever takes that last spot. If Seattle cedes it, or if Indiana lets go of the rope, like a huge game against Phoenix on Tuesday night. And then,
yeah,
of course, the biggie, Minnesota and Vegas on Thursday night. That could be a WNBA finals preview, folks. I mean, come on.
absolutely, absolutely. And and I think with Indiana going to them, I think the questions have been, are are they going to see Caitlin Clark on the roster?
Yeah.
Before the playoffs start, do they need her to get that spot to be in the playoffs? So
Yep.
there's a connection there for Steph White, who I think has
Yep.
done an incredible job losing three starters to
Yep.
injury, and still being able to be not only be in games but come back in games and just
Yeah.
wave teams. And Kelsey Mitchell has just been playing amazingly well, and I think her name is
Mhm.
also in the mix for MVP. If you
Oh,
ask
for
Caitlin,
sure. 100%. Listen, she set a single season scoring record for Indiana. And when you remove Tamika Catching's name from the top of any list,
yeah,
you have my complete and total attention. And the fact that she's at the top of the scout, as she has been every time she has put on an Indiana uniform, by the way, I still
yeah,
contend the Fever owe her 2 all-star bids because they just couldn't get it together with any players around her for what seemed like forever.
right,
So the fact that she's got all of these different moving pieces, and shout out to Athletes Unlimited because Kelsey Mitchell has played alongside Odyssey Sims. The
yeah,
familiarity that those two women bring to the table, having played alongside each other in a different variety of ways with Athletes Unlimited through the years, I think is paying off dividends. And I love that everybody is getting to see how amazing Shea Petty is, how amazing Odyssey is. That lefty magic is undeniable. And the fact that Odyssey, she wakes up in the morning, has her coffee, and is thinking about her son and winning in
Yeah.
that order. Like that's how she is built. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what Indiana needs in this time and space. And it's why I'm not counting the fever out. Whether Caitlin comes back or not,
Same.
players like Odyssey Sims are going to get that team across the finish line.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, she came up with some definite heroics a couple games
Yes.
ago down the stretch, and those triples. I mean, those spray outs from Aaliyah Bossing off the offensive glass, sprayed out
Mhm.
to her, came up with that triple that was pretty much the dagger and shut the door and locked it. Right.
Yep.
I just think you're right. I mean, the synergy that's already created because of the Athletes Unlimited. I think
Mhm.
that was a great pickup in terms of being smart to already have
Yeah.
that chemistry with those two. But
Yep.
I agree with that. I mean, I hope Caitlin is okay. Obviously, physically, I hope she's good
Yeah.
beyond this season, not just for
For sure.
now and everything else. But now I think they've played so long without her. I think to implement her as great as she is in terms of distributing the basketball, even if she doesn't take shots, her
Mhm.
ability to set the table and be that point of attack offensively, I don't
Yep.
know, has that chemistry been redeveloped? Has she been practicing? Like, what is that going to feel like
Mm.
for the team? And I know I went through that as a coach where a kid was hurt for like 6 weeks and we were
Yeah.
rolling along, right? And we needed her. She was a starter, but she broke like a part of her thumb. So she was out and she was a senior, Cindy. And it was so hard because she came
Ooh.
back and I was like, you don't get red shirts or do overs in high school or whatever.
Right,
So I thought,
right, right.
because it's like you have to be a caretaker of the entire team at that
Yeah.
point, right? So you don't, for the sake, and I have a big heart. For the sake
Yeah.
of my big heart, it's like I wanted to put her back in, but for the sake of the team, which kind of outweighed it, I had to look at the success of the team and the chemistry that had been developed, and
Mhm.
try to pepper her in and earn that time back, and not for her to earn the time back, for the team to
Right.
kind of meld back together again and have that chemistry with a player who's missed so much time. So I give a lot of credit to Steph White if she's able to figure that out. But I think
Yeah.
that's a huge conundrum for Indiana. Like, do they bring her back? And if she does, will that spoil the milk a little bit?
Well, listen, conversely, I'll argue the other side. If you do bring her back and she is ready to go,
Yeah,
think about the fear that that strikes into the opposition,
I
right?
love that.
Because all of a sudden, you have to account for her. You haven't
Yeah,
had to worry about her since basically the last 3 quarters of the season. And
yeah.
now that major pivotal piece is back, and you don't know to what extent.
How about
You
that?
don't know if it's just passing, but you have to account for 22 on the floor. So that changes your entire approach.
All
And
of it.
I think from a gamesmanship point, I may have her dress and go through the layup line just to freak people out because that changes everything that you
It,
do as an opponent to
yeah.
account for what Caitlin Clark brings to the table.
No, absolutely true. Absolutely true. A little
Mhm.
mind game within the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thing.
Let him freak
But
out. Let
why
that
not?
opposing front court go, "Oh, no.
Like,
We
like
we haven't had to deal with him. What? Oh,
that
no. Don't make
would be
no. Oh my gosh. I need my help D. Who's my help D? 3, where are you at? 4, where are you at?" Like, you know? And
the
then you make your 4s and 5s nervous, right? Because all of a sudden the double to Aaliyah isn't as automatic. I mean, the ripple effect that 22 on the floor has for Fever is huge.
yeah. No, that's massive, and I concur.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be really interesting, obviously intriguing to see
Mhm.
when she comes back, if she comes
Yeah.
back, and what
Yeah.
happens after. So I think
But
it's an
shout out to everybody and their mindset right now to let her heal and let her get right, keeping
yeah,
her health at the forefront. That's
yeah,
most important
it-
because I don't think Indiana wants to risk a few games for a few seasons. You feel
that's what
me?
I'm.
Like, it's just not worth it.
No,
So, to have her back healthy 100% as we head to the 2026 season and a completely changed landscape, right? We don't know who's going to be on what team pretty much outside of people under rookie contracts and the 2 Lexis,
yeah,
or excuse me, the 2 Browns. Um, Lexi Brown in Seattle and Kalani Brown in Phoenix are the only 2 players that are
yeah,
non-rookies under contract for 2026. Everybody else is a free agent. So everything could totally change. And I think that's why coming out and supporting your teams right now, the way they look is important because everything is likely to change next season.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's the FA season, free agent
Yes.
season, and the CBA still is being ironed out. There's so many things that are unknown, right? And
Yeah.
they're still constantly working on getting that right. And we'll get to
Yep.
that too. I don't know if on this podcast we'll get to it as well, but I would like
Yep.
to kind of examine what you think will be, I guess, the race to the championship this year, and which team right now is cranking on all cylinders and has the
Mm.
proper momentum. Because at this juncture of the season, it's all about what have you done for me lately, right?
Yep.
You saw the slow start with the Aces. You saw, Seattle's kind of going a little roller coastery, but when they're
Mhm.
great, they look really good.
Yeah.
So, what do you foresee and prognosticate about the upcoming playoffs, and who you think will be in? Let's just go with the top four. After all
Okay.
things are done, they play through, the first couple rounds of the playoffs. Who's in the final four in your estimation this season?
I think the Final Four, as it's constructed right now, is what we're going to see when we head into the postseason, and that's Minnesota and Las Vegas, Atlanta and Phoenix. Those teams have been the most consistent, and outside of the injuries to Jordan Canada and to Kalia Copper, they've also been the healthiest. And so for me, heading into this postseason, I think the New York Liberty have to look in the mirror and say, how healthy are we? Who can we rely on? Because they're the outlier and they're the big question mark, right? We know they're chasing back to back and they're built to win it, but
Yep.
can they? And
Yeah.
all of it depends on health and consistency. They got Emma Meesman, and everybody's like, okay, well, write out the championship check and put their name on the trophy right now. And it
Yeah.
hasn't come to fruition, right? Because to your point, you got to put the pieces together and everything's got to mesh. And they're still finding that groove. And as long as Sabrina Ionescu is on the sideline, I really worry about what New York is capable of in the postseason. But the four teams at the top of the table right now have impressed me with their consistency, their ability to win in a variety of ways, and particularly with Las Vegas and Minnesota, the swagger. The consistent swagger that I've seen in this push to the postseason has been so epic. And I feel like Atlanta has it as long as Jordan Canada's on the floor. They look terrific in their last outing against Connecticut.
Okay.
And Phoenix has shown it in flashes when the threes are falling. When
Right.
the three ball is not falling, I don't see it. And that's the only little bit of vulnerability I see with the Mercury.
Mhm.
Otherwise, those top four teams, I think, are the teams that we will see in the conference finals.
I love that. I love that. And I agree. I just think, with New York, to my point earlier, right? When you
Mhm.
throw in, an extra player, even if they're great, it's
Yeah.
really tough, right? And I think,
All world. Emma Meesseman is as best of a player that you're gonna bring in off the street that you can find.
right.
A championship, a finals MVP, the whole
Yeah.
thing.
All of it. All of it.
Yeah. And I thought for sure when Stewie was out that Emma would just fill that void,
Right.
and she didn't quite do that because, again, everything was new. She's playing with players for the first time. The players that she had played with were out hurt.
Yeah.
Niara Sabali, we saw how important Niara was in the championship run for the Liberty, and she is a spectator right now. So
Yeah.
until she's available and healthy to come back into the fold, I have question marks. But I
Yeah.
cannot wait to see New York make the postseason and then just be the fly in everybody's ointment when they do get healthy and on the same page.
Right.
Because then you get down to fan bases, right? Like I
Yeah.
want Golden State to make the playoffs as a reward to the Valkyries leading the league in attendance this season.
Yeah.
Nobody saw that coming. And shout out to the entire group that put that winning strategy together, who, by the way, is about to all work for the Portland Fire now as they continue to cherry pick from the Golden State
Yeah.
Valkyries to build their organization, which is like, hey, they laid the blueprint. Why not reward
Yeah.
all of those personnel people with jobs of their own accord and elevating them in the Portland Fire space?
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to see the Valkyries get rewarded. And in that same breath, Christy, I also want to see Los Angeles make the playoffs because of the exciting potential that team has when it takes the floor. One of the longest rosters in the league and some of the most dynamic players you will see. Rakia Jackson, De'Erica Hamby has played out of her mind down the stretch, trying to get these sparks into the postseason. Kelsey Plum is a walking bucket. You know what Azurá Stevens has done in the most improved player category. And then you just sprinkling Cam Brink. Hey, let me get you 4 blocks right now. Let me only play 20 minutes, but I can get you 4 blocks, no problem. Like they're so exciting as a team. So you want that for the postseason as well. So it's this final week is going to be epically awesome, and I cannot wait. Popcorn is ready.
Yeah. Often, yeah, we got that. And, with the Valkyries for sure. I mean, with their front office going to Portland, that was just announced like
Mhm.
last week. They start almost immediately right after the
Yeah.
season to go and take their places there with Portland. So I think that's going to
Yep.
be intriguing to see who comes in to Golden State,
Yeah.
who to the point has sold out every home game this year
Yeah.
uh, in that huge arena. And they just have solid energy. And we've seen that across the
Mhm.
board in every single game there. So that was
Yeah.
fun. But to your point about LA, are they a sleeper team? Do you think? And when I say sleeper team, I mean, could they be one of those dark horse squads that creep up on you and now all of a sudden they could make it into the final four of the WNBA playoffs because of their length, because of their swag, like you
Mhm.
said, their moxie, and you have Plum Dog running things who can just take over games. But De'Erica Hamby had 17 of her 27 points in the second half, so she has that
Yes.
thing going on too.
Yeah,
And then,
listen, she scored 11 in the 4th quarter. When it was
oh,
winning time, she said, "Give me the ball."
come on,
Like an 11-0 run to close in a game you have to have.
that's
That
what I'm saying.
was so impressive, and I hate that loss for Seattle because I
Mm,
grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I'm a storm crazy. I don't want that team to not make the postseason, but I tell you what, Los Angeles could just be the team that nobody wants to face if they do mess around and make the playoffs.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, I was gonna say something bad. It's a bad word, so I'm not gonna say the bad word, but it's easy fun and find out. Like just fun around and
Yeah,
find
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Fud around and find
Oh,
out. 100%.
so just shout out to
Yeah.
AZ. That's my anyway. But with LA, I just think with De'Erica Hamby and her ability, right, to
Mhm.
not only do what she's doing offensively, but defensively, and her ability to attack the painted area where she leads the WNBA in paint points. With I don't
Yep.
know, I 13 when they were playing against the Mystics this past weekend. I don't know if it's up or
Mhm.
down from that, but to lead the league in paint points, I mean, you're applying like some
Yeah.
heavy pressure right there. And she's on the
Yeah.
glass. And now you have Cam Brink. And you have Stevens, who's long and
Mhm.
lanky. I just think they could be a team that could be a scary season for a lot of squads and creep up on people
Yeah.
in this post for the WNBA. I just think they have all the tools and the way they spread you out and either attack from three or attack you off the bounce. I think they're just so tough to guard. They
Yeah.
they create a lot of mismatches and kind of mismatches that give them a lot of favor in those cross matches. So I think that's going
Mhm.
to be very interesting. But any other sleeper teams, like okay, we put LA in that kind of category. Anyone else who you feel has the momentum who could come and kind of strike you at the end of postseason in a surprising way?
I tell you what, Golden State, only because of the way they defend.
Yeah,
Nobody defends paint points better than Golden State in the entire league. Like
yeah,
that is you got rim protection from an undersized team. That means everybody is pulling on the same defensive rope, front
yeah,
court, back court. Everybody is involved in
right.
making sure that ball in the basket in the painted area. And that
Right.
is saying something. It's obviously a priority for Natalie Nakase. She brings that chip on her shoulder attitude that she had playing point guard at UCLA.
You're
And
right.
it just resonates when you watch Golden
Mhm.
State play. They are so locked in on the defensive end of the floor. And we know scoring baskets doesn't come as easy in the postseason. Everything that was flowing and beautiful in the regular season all of a sudden gets taken up a notch, right? In the postseason, the defenses get better.
Yeah.
Think about that. Golden
Yeah.
State's defense is already elite and it's going to get better in the playoffs. And they're going to be backed by, for one game guaranteed, the
Right.
Golden State Valkyrie fan base, 18,000 strong, and Violet too, now that she's a part of the party. So
Good.
I I think they could really create some havoc. Don't let them get to the conference finals where they're
Yeah.
guaranteed, an opportunity to again impress Valhalla.
Yeah.
Yikes.
No, I agree with that. I mean, they just play so tough. And Veronica
Yes.
Burton is a player who's on that most improved list.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
she has been so solid. And, I covered her in college. So to see her really morph into being a two-way player, and I
Yep.
hate using that two-way player because why are you hooping if you don't play defense and offense? Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
but I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Like she was 3 times named Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten, and then
Yeah.
to come out to be scoring like she has been
Mhm.
able to score the ball, and it's not necessarily off of steal and scores in the open floor layup, boom, boom, boom.
No,
It's
no.
calculating in the quarter
Yep.
court and getting her shots where she wants to take them and make them. And for
Yeah.
me, right now, she is leading for me in most improved. And I know Dawn
Yeah.
Staley was lobbying for Aaliyah Boston to be most improved.
That's
I'm
cute.
there's an argument for everybody, I'm sure. But I mean, Veronica Burton
Right.
raised both my eyebrows, like, dang,
Yeah,
like she
yeah. Well,
improved.
and to your point, not only is she scoring the basketball, she's handling the ball efficiently.
Yes,
That
yes,
assist to turnover ratio is right where it needs to be.
yes,
And she's had games where she has had 0 turnovers. Like that for me, the ball control and security, because that's what you want from a point guard, right? Always put your team in a position to succeed by maintaining the possession. And VB has been exemplary in that category. And again, for those sleeping on Athletes Unlimited, we knew about VB. She's had a lot of responsibility in our 5-on-5 league, and we have seen the flashes of offense. And Cheryl Swoops and I have been on the call begging her to shoot the ball more. And now she's had a coaching staff pour into her and say, Yes, we believe in you. You're a hooper. Go get it. Go eat. And she's doing it. And it is a beautiful thing to see.
it really is. I'm proud of her. I love to see players continue to add on to their skill set over the years, and not just
That's
from
the best
pro.
part of watching this league because
It,
nobody is a finished product when they first enter. It's
no,
what are you doing in year 2, in year 5, in year 7, in
yeah,
year 9? Tina Charles is adding to her bag, and
yeah.
she's been doing this, what, 14 seasons? Like,
Yeah,
come on. It
way back.
is
I guess,
right.
yeah, way back. I don't know how you block that.
Yes, yes. Same with
She had,
Dewana Bonner. How
yeah.
can I effectively help the team that I am on now with the
Mhm.
skill set that I bring to the table? And I
Yeah.
think that is something that just doesn't get talked enough about in the
No.
WNBA. You're not a finished product ever. We see the growth and development. And for me, that is one of the most exciting parts about being a fan.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's just really it's so much fun because that's what you want, right? And I
Yes.
think as a fan, but also as someone who coached, like I want to see you be better at something
Yeah.
different because not only that, your opponents are going to be taking away your key elements that you bring to the
Right.
game. So
Yeah.
you have to be nimble minded in terms of
Yeah.
okay, how do I counter that when they take it away? Okay, this is
Yeah.
what I present to the rookie, so I know they're going to be trying to take that away coming over my left shoulder. Now what do I do? In the next
Mhm.
that part to a different
And I
level. So
know
I always
right?
look for
I know you said Veronica Burton for most improved. I would not leave Nas Hillman off that list. What
most
she's
improved.
doing for Atlanta and the fact that she is shooting the life from 3? We didn't
Yeah.
know she could shoot the three.
No.
Did you know she could shoot the three? I did not know she could shoot the three. I think
No.
she put up a couple in Athletes Unlimited, and I was like, oh, okay, she's extending her range.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see the proof in the pudding. And I look to a player like Shug Sutton for your Mystics.
Okay.
That three ball is falling nicely for her
Yeah.
now. That was not the case when she was with Phoenix. It was
No.
sporadic. It was,
Yeah.
whoo, she's shooting it, hold your breath, hope it goes through. Now it is automatic. And
It is.
that's work done in the dark, shining in the light. Credit to Shug. But the
Yeah.
effectiveness of Naz Hillman doing that in such a short
Yeah.
amount of time, so impressive. And the fact that she's the vocal leader of that Atlanta Dream team.
Yeah.
It's not Rye, it's not Leash, it's not BG. You know, the people, it's not Bree Jones because both BG and Bree are new to the secret
Right.
sauce there. And it's not quite Jordan Canada, right? Because she's been in and out of the lineup. But
Right.
Naz Hillman has been the consistent leadership voice. And I
Yeah.
think that helps her most improved player case as well because
Yeah.
she's impacting all over the floor.
Yeah, no doubt. And I see, I was gonna bring Naz Hillman up, but I was gonna bring her up as the possible sixth woman of the
No,
year in the
that's true.
WNBA because she's off the
True.
bench. And yes, she has
Yep.
improved exponentially, obviously, from three. And she only
Yep.
took 2 or 3 threes in her WNBA career over
Yeah.
the years that she's been in the league, and then now she's letting that thing fly. And then at Michigan, she was the leader for the Wolverines, right? For Kim Barnes-Arico there, and she was Big Ten Player of the Year. But she did some things in the Big Ten Conference where she was the voice for all the athletes, right?
Yeah.
Not just the football team, where she was the
Yep.
captain of it. So she has those leadership qualities. So I see that has followed her to Atlanta. So yes, most improved, but I can also see Naz Hillman as sixth player of the year because of what she's been able to do off the bench to lead
Yeah.
Atlanta and continue to stretch the floor from three. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see that for her. But okay, I know we're getting tight on time. So
Yes.
do you wanna run through postseason awards, or do you wanna save it for next time?
I
I
think
don't
we're gonna
know.
save it for next time, honestly,
Okay,
because
because
we
they
need
said
another week's worth of statistics, right? Because clearly
I
you're on the fence. I know who I think the MVP of this league is. I am nothing
yeah,
can get me off of the AT train, right? She is the
yeah,
engine. She is doing something historically that we have never seen done in the WNBA.
yeah,
And she is doing it on a team that nobody is talking about. Still, I
yeah,
never hear Nate Tibbetts' name mentioned for coach of the year ever.
yeah,
I don't hear Nick Urin's name mentioned as general manager of the year. He put all this together.
right,
Um, I don't hear people saying, yeah, Phoenix has got a chance. Phoenix looks like the team that they put together in 14 when they won it all. Nobody is saying those things. And
mm,
so for me, if those pieces aren't a part of the conversation, then I feel the need to push. Well, at least let's get the Alyssa Thomas piece
mhm,
right. Because
right,
everybody said that she was really a part and near the tippy top of the conversation just a few years ago. And the
right,
numbers she's putting up this season exceed that. She's scoring at a higher clip. The
yes,
assist to turnover is right where it needs to be. She's leading the league in assists. She's going to set the single season record. And again, I leave you with the fact that nobody, not a point guard, not a point forward, nobody wearing a WNBA uniform has put together 3 consecutive seasons of 300 assists or more. This
right.
is history, ladies and gentlemen, and it needs to be rewarded.
I feel that, but Asia Wilson's on top, top, top.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
right.
you go, singing that commercial.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
okay.
It's because the commercial
I and the only thing that has kept me from ordering the A1s is I feel like a new colorway gets released every other day. So
it's
I'm just
so
waiting for one that's a little more my speed. And I'm like, okay, come on, Asia. I
but
got you. You're gonna get my coins. It just depends on the colorway.
I feel that same. But no, I just and there's so many arguments to be made. Alicia Gray's having an amazing year, and
And
obviously
let me
Alyssa.
tell you this, Christy. If not AT this year, then when?
I hear you.
What did she have to do?
I know.
What does she have to do to separate herself if breaking WNBA records isn't enough? If averaging a triple double isn't enough? If landing her team in the top 4 in the standings and securing home court advantage in the playoffs isn't enough? then what does she have to do? Because
Uh,
we've seen the body of work that has gotten Asia an MVP. And
right,
if you compare her numbers to last year and the second year she won MVP, they're
yeah,
not quite there. Apples to apples, because
I
Asia's done it before.
right.
AT hasn't been rewarded for her excellence. So what does she have to do to pass that threshold?
I think, and this is just a hot take right here, and I'm just going to say it because it's the podcast. So listen. So for me, for Vegas to lose three key cogs to their championship squads over the years, Plum,
Mhm.
Clark, Tip Hayes, right? Um,
Yep.
and then to come in pretty much having to iron that out, especially on the defensive end. And then for
Yep.
them to be in eighth place in the power polls. And then now to be in second place because of
Mhm.
their meshing, their understanding what they need to do on the defensive end. Um, Jackie Young playing out of her mind, Chelsea Gray doing what she needs to do, and then Asia
Yep.
just staying consistent with both offensive and defensive skills. It's
Yep.
just hard for me because I think right now, and I love AT down, like all the way, like we're here. And I get it. For me, it's got to be based on the team and the success
Mhm.
of the. And I am not begrudging the fact that her excellence has been lost in the consistency of that said excellence. And I get that. I don't like that either. And it should be rewarded. However, when there's this huge jump from 8 to 2 for the
Mhm.
Las Vegas Aces, and then Asia Wilson kind of being the, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer on the front of that thing, guiding them to that spot, that's how I picture it. So for me, it's the overall picture of it.
Mhm.
Numbers are great, and I love the fact that she shares the basketball. Like trust and
Yep.
believe. That is one of my
Yep.
top key components to success. Is how unselfish can you be with the
Yep.
basketball? How unselfish can you be as a rotator on defense, right? Because you can be selfish in that too and not go, right? And leave
Mhm.
your teammate on an island. Trust, I've
Yep.
seen it all, a lot of hoops, and I've seen a lot of selfishness on both sides. She is not that, right?
Nope.
She is a tough defender. She is a tough player when it comes to her balance on the offensive end and her glass work. I get it.
Mhm.
But the team, now I want to see what Phoenix is going to be able to do moving forward. And you said we're going to come back and talk about it next week. And I want that. I want to see how the end of the regular season pans out
Mhm.
and what that
Yep.
looks like overall for both teams, right?
Right.
And I make that argument after the results are in with the overall team results. That's
Okay.
what I want. That's what I
My
want to see. And I
only
game.
my only argument back
They
to
are,
you about Asia and this heater that the Aces are on is 2 key moves were made. Kia
yeah,
Stokes to the bench, Melissa Smith on the team. That's one. And the other was Jewel Lloyd going to Becky Hammon and saying, "I'll come off the bench. I'll be your offensive punch off the bench."
and
Now,
Melissa Smith.
all of that happening in combination has
Mhm.
helped your Rudolph in Asia be at the front of that sleigh and lead the way. But if those component, if the wake up and realization that Kia Stokes was not the answer, if that move hadn't happened,
That's
we're
true.
not talking about the Aces like this. We're just
You're right.
not, because we
No.
saw that 500 mess that was happening with Stokes in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
And Nalissa Smith gets better by the dribble. Those of
Yeah.
us at Athletes Unlimited know how special this is
Yeah.
and are thrilled that she is eating at such a consistent and career high rate and learning from one of the best to ever play in Asia Wilson. I
Yeah.
mean, she loved on her when they were on opposing teams. We
I
saw
know.
the clips. The fact that they're in the same lab now, I cannot wait to see Liz in
Yeah.
season 7, 9, 12. What she is learning now is going to make her an all-star in this league.
Yeah.
But those are the things that put an asterisk next to what the Aces are doing for me, because Asia was always trying to hold it down. The
Yeah.
help wasn't in the right place.
Right.
Now the pieces are in the right place.
All
And
set.
so she's been able to elevate as a result and do her all world stuff. This is Olympic Asia, right? Who won us the gold medal? Who locked it down? Who secured it? Who made sure Copper got the ball in the fourth quarter? Asia, rebound, outlet. Here we go. Like that whole deal happened because of Asia Wilson.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. She's different.
I love her. I
Yeah.
I cannot like to me a statue in front of the South Carolina facility is
Yeah.
not enough. Like you can't build enough to honor what she has done for the game of basketball.
Yeah.
But in this season, I just don't think she's done more to supersede what Alyssa Thomas has done from a historical standpoint. The most triple doubles we've ever seen in a single season, and the season isn't over yet.
Not over yet.
She's averaging a triple double.
Yeah.
She's going to set the regular season assists record. She is MVP, Alyssa Thomas.
Oh, man. But can the team be better than Vegas? And that is where we'll end it.
But listen, did we think Phoenix was going to be a 4 seed? I remember our friends at the Athletic
Yeah.
prognosticating before the season started. They had Phoenix in the bottom 5 because we didn't know what the foreign pieces were going to look like on the floor, much like
That's
we didn't know with Golden State, right?
true.
And so, boom, here we are. And
I,
they are Phoenix is in a very good position to hang on to top 4 in home court. For me, the deciding factor is who's going to play better in that gigantic matchup in Las Vegas Thursday night.
that's
Nafisa Collier or Asia Wilson.
what I want to
Do they
see.
cancel each other out? Does one play better?
Yeah.
Because, in their mind, if I'm them, if I'm Asia or Fee, I'm like, MVP is up for grabs tonight. I'm
It
going to
is.
win it.
It
Right?
is. That's why we
So,
love that. But Fee, I
right?
mean, what can you take away from Fee? Because wow, and this is how we'll end it too, because we didn't really give Fee her flowers. She missed all those games with that
Well,
ankle and
that's
came
it.
back
That's the
30,
decider for me.
but she
Too
came
much
back and
time
dropped
missed.
30. Like it's just what she does, and they're number
Yes.
one. So that's another factor for me. Like best player, best team, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Most consistently best player, because there are a lot of great players who have nights they pop off. Listen,
Right.
Minnesota right now is the number one team in the league.
Yep. Yep.
Lisa Collier is the best player when it comes to being the consistency of excellence on all different levels and aspects of the game. So
Yep.
how do you take it away from her? I think we can ask that same question to all of the players who are up for MVP or any other award. How do you take
Yep.
it away? I think that when Becky Hammond said that, that's really been sending my mind in on a Ferris wheel, because I want to really think of it that way, because I already know why they're on the list, but how do
Yeah.
we take them off? And that to me is going to be how I come up with that voting. And that's going to be tough,
Yeah.
but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it
Yep.
because I love it. And I'm going to be true to the game when it comes to it. And my love for the game
Mhm.
is a deep one. That's why I have this. That's my love is the game. See, Mon
Yes,
Amour.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Well,
see,
this is mine.
that's what
It
do you have
is
on?
what a cluster. What a cluster. And this
Well,
is from my friends at Goo Goo Cluster in Nashville, Tennessee, where they have their headquarters and make those delicious candies, because heading into this final week of the season, it is a cluster. We don't know outside of 1, 2, perhaps. I mean, Phoenix can mess around and still finish as high as 2. Um, Outside of Minnesota being number 1, everything else is up for grabs. And so I cannot wait to see how this season ends.
what's the best candy at the cluster shop there?
Their signature chocolate. It's
Okay.
a bunch of nuts and caramel. It's a gooey mess, and it is delicious.
Okay. So I do better, but I have the giggles. So hard to okay. We're just gonna take that and leave it. But we're gonna come back and really dissect these postseason awards, Cindy,
Yes,
and playoff action and seeding should be settled by then as well. So, oh
yes.
my gosh, always fun.
Okay, and until we get together again, I implore everybody, if you are near a WNBA city, go to a game. these games have been so exciting. Even with the teams that have been eliminated from the playoffs, they are playing as if they know their role is to be the fly in the ointment, to
Yep.
be the spoiler. So even if you think, oh, Connecticut's out of it, no, 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 no. Connecticut is playing as if they are trying to make the playoffs, as
Yeah.
are the Mystics, as
Yeah.
are the Wings. As soon as the Wings can get some bodies in the gym to play for them, they are
Mhm.
playing their took us off.
Yeah.
So get to a game. I'm headed to Atlanta, the final arena on my WNBA arena tour this weekend, my first game at the Gateway Center. I cannot wait. I was so impressed with the public address announcer and the in arena host because Atlanta was the home team when I went to the Canada game in Vancouver. So I can't wait to see them on their turf doing what they do. And of course, the opportunity to watch Leash and Rye and BG and Bree Jones and the whole gang, Nas, Jordan Canada's back healthy. Yes. So a lot of my favorite players hoop on that team. So I'm super excited to pull up in the ATL. I'm going with our colleague Helen, and we are going to represent her Hoop Stats pod. And I cannot wait to show up and show out in Atlanta.
I love it. Atlanta's got some fun coming their way. We have a one down
Yes.
there. I love that. And in DC, Phoenix comes in on Thursday to
Hmm.
and Baltimore on Sunday. The Indiana Fever are in town, and then Washington goes up to New
Ooh,
York. So three
huge.
teams that are playoff bound that Washington
Yep.
can kind of out with. So I'm excited about
Yeah.
that since Washington has been eliminated. But I
Yeah.
can't wait. Guys down in Atlanta, please hug Helen for me. I haven't been able to see her, but hug her
Will
for
do.
me. Have fun in the ATL. I know that's going to be awesome for you guys.
Heck yeah.
All right, baby. Well, Cindy, always a blessing to see your beautiful face and smile, and always love the joy you bring to the game day in and day out. I love it so much, and I love you. I miss you. I hope to see you
Mm.
soon.
Right
You're
back at you. And thanks to BMAC for holding it down as always, producer extraordinaire. Till next time.
yeah. We'll see you guys next time right here on the Her Who Stats podcast. I'm Christy Winter Scott for Cindy Brunson. We'll see you guys soon.